Fantasy, a term that we use in everyday life, is generally taken to mean anything that is not real or imaginative. However, in literary studies, it has certain specific meanings related to specific schools. These meanings are not very different from the original meaning of the term, but then there are extensions. Two important theoretical schools which have their own definition of fantasy are the psychoanalytical school and the structuralist school. In psychoanalysis, fantasy has a specific meaning. It relates to those dreams which act as a kind of wish fulfillment to us. So, any imagination in psychoanalysis is not fantasy. It is, I repeat, used to refer to those dreams in which we get our wish fulfilled. You love someone you cannot meet, and you meet that person in a dream. You desire a career, but you cannot achieve that career goal. Then you see it in your dream, and there is a kind of satisfaction even in that stage, which acts as a buffer zone to help your own disturbed psyche. So that is fantasy. And even at some point of time, some person may think that to be real. Of course, that is a severe case of neurosis verging on the border of psychosis almost. But more or less, fantasy in psychoanalysis is a dream which relates to wish fulfillment. Now, in structuralism, Todorov actually used this term to refer to those stories, narratives, or events within stories or narratives, which once we have read it, you have doubts whether it is real or not. you know you can think about Coleridge, that literature is willing suspension of disbelief, but it is slightly different. When you read a classic realist text like say Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, or Charles Dickens's David Copperfield, it doesn't come to your mind usually, if you are a quote unquote normal reader, whether this is real or not. You know what it is, you take it to be real. But then when you read something like say Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, or Wuthering Heights by you know this Bronte, Emily Bronte, then there are certain parts in that story or the whole story, as in the case of Frankenstein or in Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, you doubt whether such a thing or such a story can actually happen. So then those kind of things will be called fantasy, according to Todorov. So that was all I wanted to say about this particular genre fantasy in literature.